Ladies and gents, I'm Lucy Reaction and this is Miscellaneous Myths, The Minotaur by the channel Overly Sarcastic Production. Theseus, Athens' favorite trash man. Let's talk about someone a little more interesting. Literally anyone involved in the story will do. Good news, I found the 1080p button. Bad news, the minute difference in image resolution are now threatening my sanity. Okay. So yeah, it's a 1080p 60 frame. What's 60 frame about this video? I mean, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, the Minotaur. I mean, I have basic knowledge of Greek mythology, like I said before, and the Greek mythology is so complex that translates to having no knowledge of Greek mythology. But the Minotaur is something that's way famous, like Hercules. I mean, it's the bull, massive bull, Minos' bull or something like that. I also played that game Assassin's Creed Odyssey, in which there's a mission on Crete, that island. So apparently the Minotaur's from there or something. That story also sets some story about the Minotaur. There's some kind of sacrifices involved, Poseidon is involved. I don't remember perfectly. So this video is going to be fun. I already did quite a few Overly Sarcastic Production videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cards. There's a playlist calculator for it. Overly Sarcastic Production, something like that. Check out the playlist too, like Internet Historian, Salmonella, CGP Grey, Kuzgazad in a Nutshell, Tier Zoo. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Pro tip, character designers, if you're struggling to come up with a monster design, try just mashing random animals together. Satisfaction guaranteed, works every time. Ancient Greece was certainly a big fan of the concept, as basically every monster in the mythos is either regular person or animal with a non-standard number of limbs, heads, or eyes, or two or more animals mashed together. It's usually not even explained why they're like that. Why is the offspring of Poseidon and Medusa a horse with wings? Who knows? Why do Typhon and...
Hello, so somebody going to the edge of the land and screaming at the sea, "Why your son is a horse with wings?" And there's a loud, thick voice coming out, "I don't know why you're such a nerd." But yeah, that is true. It's not just Greek mythology. In almost all mythology, but the fusion of man or animal or just animals are a really big thing, isn't it? I mean, there are lots of half animal, half man, or just animal type of creatures, gods, whatever.
An echidna, two mostly humanoid, somewhat snaky monsters, produce several multi-headed dogs and one perfect combo of goat, snake, and lioness. Primordial genetics is funky like that. And geez, the Minotaur? What unholy union could have made a half bull, half dude? Well, actually, that one is pretty straightforward, but you're not gonna like it. Now, contextually, the Minotaur is a kind of mysterious figure because the Minoan civilization he's derived from is pretty unknown in a lot of ways. It was a powerful Bronze Age civilization that flourished on the island of Crete from 3000 BCE to about 1100 BCE, and it's not 100% clear what caused it to fall apart, but it super fell apart, so hard we didn't even know it existed until 1900. We have tons of their relics and architecture and stuff, and also a lot of their writing, but unfortunately we can't understand any of it. Yep, it's all in linear A and mysterious hieroglyphs, and we can't read any of them. So we kind of have no idea what they were up to. But because of their extensive trade network, plenty of civilizations we can understand were influenced by them, and we have lots of myths and stories and maybe even some gods that seem to have been originally derived from the largely unknown Minoan religion. Now, basically everything about that is pure speculation, but if there's one thing we can say with confidence, it's that bulls show up a lot. Not minotaurs, though. While bull-headed humans show up in Greek art about Crete, Minoan art itself only ever shows regular bulls. The Minotaur is a specifically Greek story about the ancient Minoans, referencing their widespread bull symbolism by peppering in bulls and bull accessories at regular intervals. It also frames the mythologized Minoan civilization in a generally antagonistic role, possibly because of all the forced oceanic trade, also known as piracy. So basically, it's biased, filtered, and offset from the source by several centuries, but we have nothing else to go on because we can't read their language. Let this be a PSA. Don't let languages die, kids. You're gonna really annoy scholars in like 3,000 years. So anyway, the tale of the Minotaur begins with King Minos of Crete, the son—
I mean, they might just have, there are lots of cultures who have fascination with certain animals for whatever reason. I guess they got, basically raised to a point where they're holy or something, or even vilified, who knows. So, they basically, those culture basically, I guess, revolved around bulls a lot. Maybe bulls were all, native to that area a lot. There were lots of bulls there, so it became a thing, who knows.
Son of Zeus and Europa, so we're already off to a roaring start in the functional relationships department. In order to prove that he's a bad enough dude to rule Crete instead of his brothers Rhadamanthus or Sarpedon, Minos calls in a favor from Poseidon, who sends him a beautiful snow-white bull, with the understanding that Minos is going to sacrifice the bull to him afterwards as thanks. Everyone is super impressed with this stake in the making, and Minos becomes king, but he's just so impressed with this bull that he refuses to sacrifice it, and swaps it out for a way lamer, super less hot bull. Poseidon is enraged by this slight, so he slips Aphrodite a 20 to get her to make Minos' wife Pasiphae fall in love love with the bull. What could go wrong?
I love that animation. Like, oh, take this money. Doesn't even look at the side. See, he knows that she's just there. Take this money, Aphrodite. Do something.
Wrong. But unlike Pasiphae, the Cretan bull has very high standards. First of all, being a quadruped is a must. Second of all, must also be a cow. Fortunately, from a certain point of view, acclaimed architect, inventor, and future part-time aeronaut Daedalus happens to be on Crete at the time, so Pasiphae commissions him to make her a hollow wooden cow suit for recreational purposes. Daedalus, consummate professional that he is, takes the commission with zero outward judging, and I'm just gonna skip over this part because, come on, we get it. Oh hey, where'd that thing come from? So the Minotaur, as the child abomination of a truly beastly relationship, doesn't really have a place in the natural order of things, which unfortunately
Of all the things Aphrodite did, did this just... Did this really happen? This is ridiculous. Of all the stories I heard, this is just stupid. Of course Aphrodite is involved.
fortunately means he can't really eat anything besides people. Tragic. Rather than, I don't know, killing him or letting him starve or something, Minos consults the oracle at Delphi who tells him to build that sucker a lavish basement apartment and then throw away the key. Daedalus scores another commission when Minos asks him to build an absolutely massive labyrinth for the Minotaur. Then, to make sure nobody learns how the labyrinth works, Minos locks Daedalus up in a tower with Icarus, 5 tons of supplies, and every tool ever made. That ought to hold him, but that's a story for, 4 years ago, apparently. So anyway, with the Minotaur functionally imprisoned in a really big, impossibly complicated maze, that fixes the potential rampage problem, but still leaves the whole food issue kind of up in the air. But what's the point in being king if you can't be kind of a dick about it? The exact justifications vary from telling to telling, but long story short, Minos demands a human sacrifice of 14 young Athenians every few years to keep the Minotaur fed. This goes smoothly for the first couple sacrifices, but on the third go-round, this whole Minotaur human sacrifice situation draws the attention of a spunky young hero aiming to prove himself. Specifically Theseus, Athens' founder hero and official best boy, which really reflects more poorly on Athens than any.
Founder, hero, and king of Athens. Okay, he was the king. Kidnapped 12-year-old Helen of Troy. Oh, Theseus? Yeah. Kidnapped 12-year-old Helen of Troy so he could marry her. I mean, wait a minute. Is this the guy who... I'm confused with the name, really. But is this the guy who kidnapped her? Because that guy was, I guess, you know... wasn't he guy was a wimp, basically running away from fight? I don't know. Accidentally made his father kill himself because he forgot to swap his sails like an absolute cretin. Abandoned the girl who saved his life and loved him on an island. Okay, so see, he abandoned her on an island. Had his son Hippolytus killed because he's a gullible idiot. What? He had his son killed? Yeah, and I can't read the last one.
Anything else. Anywho, Theseus brings a big cool boat and plenty of gumption, but not much in the way of a plan. So it's lucky for him that Minos' daughter Ariadne takes one look at this new cute boy and goes full head over heels for him, possibly because she doesn't get out much. Now, Ariadne is very familiar with the labyrinth. In fact, in one early citation of the story mentioned in the Iliad, it suggested the original version of Daedalus' labyrinth was built specifically for Ariadne as a dancing path with no Minotaur involved. Mythologically, Ariadne and the labyrinth go way back, maybe even farther back than the Minotaur. And some people theorize Ariadne is actually originally some kind of Cretan goddess known as the Mistress of the Labyrinth, which is dope as all hell, but not what we're here for. Ariadne helps Theseus out by giving him a ball of thread, called a clue, that'll let him retrace his path out of the labyrinth, and Theseus makes his way down with her guidance, eventually finding the Minotaur and engaging it in totally rad combat until he manages to decapitate it. You're welcome, Minos. And so ends the tale of the Minotaur. Surprisingly, well, I think it's surprising anyway, Minos doesn't seem too happy to have his monster... Well, actually, that one is too happy to have his monster problem fixed, and Theseus and Ariadne book it out of Crete along with the other Athenians. But for whatever reason, later retconned as divine intervention, but originally just kind of a huge dick move, Theseus totally ditches Ariadne and leaves her alone on the shores of Naxos while she sleeps. Fortunately, when she wakes up, her grief and betrayal is mitigated somewhat by the fact that Dionysus himself shows up to help her out and also maybe propose or something because he thinks she's really cute. And they end up getting married and living very happy immortal lives together up on Olympus. While in contrast, Theseus' love life goes... not well. What with all the kidnapping and personally pissing off Hades and such. Yeesh, javelin dodged. Moral of the story? Probably, keep your promises, be true to your responsibilities, and, oh yeah, stop boning animals! Jeez, guys.
Seriously.
I'm all out of love.
Athens, sweetie. I know Theseus is your founder king and everything, but you gotta stop covering for his bad behavior, yeah. When you rewrite his myth to involve Dionysus commanding him to abandon Ariadne in order to justify his behavior, we notice. Damn, really?
Lost without you, I know.
when you portray 12-year-old Helen of Troy as a happy, consenting adult during her kidnapping by Theseus and Theseus, we notice. Okay, so those are all change stories by Athenians, huh?
know you were right.
Hottest take of the tri-millennium folks. Theseus is officially hashtag cancelled. Yeah, okay. So all that story basically about Helen being consenting and everything. Those are, I guess, Athenian whitewashing or something like that. Huh. All right. That was the Minotaur. This was a great video. Alright, people. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards, all the playlists. Check out the end cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.